On the 6th of September, I opened my server to a limited number of people. I posted a notice on Facebook inviting users to try out my server. This I deemed as the beginning of my beta version. That night, I had about 14 users that logged in and played on my server. Considering I had only my sisters on the server prior to this, I deemed this as successful. Before opening my server, I realized that I did have areas to improve, especially for gameplay for users. However, still thought it would be beneficial to receive feedback on specifically what the users wanted. It became evident after a few minutes of playing that I did need to do a lot of work until I was happy with the project. Several users discussed how they wished to have access to certain commands, like to return to the spawn. Upon thought, I thought this was probably a good idea, as it allowed users to explore and not fear getting lost. Whilst to this day I have not succeeded in allowing the use walk command, I found success in allowing users to set their home and enabling users to access their banks and pay others. Another problem that I faced after the opening of my server was that certain actions were unavailable in certain areas. There is a railway that runs underneath some of my world, and users are unable to get into the minecarts. In another area, I had hoped to have accessible enchantment tables. However, these two were unavailable to use. I have since addressed these problems, but not in a manner in which I'm happy with, and further improvement will be needed. Since the pitch, I've added some non-plugin based games, which require a fair bit of programming commands to function. Upon going online, there were still flaws in these minigames. I created a maze which users were unable to escape if they got lost, which would have no doubt been infuriating. The chest prize at the end of the maze was also unavailable to be accessed. Since then, I've recreated the maze and the dodgems for a smoother game. However, these are still not finished. I feel limited as some plugins do not allow me to achieve my wishes. After a week of having my server open, users were unsatisfied with the speed at which I fixed the problems, which meant that they did not return. I believe that a smoother running game and other forms of engagement, such as minigames, may help to keep users coming back and playing on my server. I still have a lot of things to touch up before I post this on a more public space. I believe that my beta version was successful, as users were keen to try out the server. They attempted the minigames and only mildly destroyed my server. I knew that I had areas to improve, and the release of my beta version enabled me to find specifically those areas.